joy comes in.
I love it. Do you remember your audition to get into the Second City MainStage?
Yes. Well, I mean, I auditioned. Okay, my journey to get to Second City MainStage was a long and strange one because they didn't want me for years and years, to the point where I finally was like, fine, fuck you, I don't need you. And then they came back and they eventually wanted me years later because I auditioned for them. Oh, I don't know, a bunch of times because they have yearly general auditions, and I was in the system, and I had done conservatory, and then was performing in the community. So I auditioned at least 5, 6, 7 times. Never really got anything, and so finally I said, I'm not auditioning anymore. I'm done. I think the last audition, what was the final straw, was like I was auditioning with people I had taught, or even was students and things. I was like, not that I'm better than them or anything like that, but it's like, if they don't want me by now, if they don't want me by now, then what's the point? Like I was just like, okay, done, whatever.
Wait, so you were still teaching at Second City while auditioning for MainStage?
Oh yeah. I started teaching before getting hired by them for performing. Yeah. And then,
I thought every teacher was on the MainStage.
Nope, you'd think that.
Huh.
I mean, I was just not in that order. But most of them are for sure. But there's some that for whatever reason, and I'm not knocking those teachers at all. There's some that
No, I'm trying to wrap my head. They think you're good enough to teach, but not good enough to be on stage at that point.
Yeah.
I find this very interesting. Okay,
you could look at it that way, I suppose.
Look, I'm just curious. Okay, not causing anything, just having a discussion. Okay.
No, that's perfectly valid. So for me, yeah, I was still teaching, and then I was performing in the improv and sketch community and doing my own thing and performing with troops and just pursuing all that stuff. And then literally it was almost 10 years. Well, 8 years anyways, after my last audition, they were looking, speaking of Jim Annan, who is the Manulife spokesman at the moment, he was leaving the MainStage, and I guess they were looking for somebody to take his spot, and they didn't feel they had anybody suitable that was quite ready in the system. So they came to see a show I was doing. They weren't even coming to see me per se. They were coming to see one of my fellow troop mates who had asked them to come, and then they asked me to come in and audition they didn't ask me to come into the first auditions. They said, come into the callbacks and audition. And I was like, okay. I was like, what? You don't want me. You've clearly shown that. And what are you going to offer me? Like, I don't know. Nothing's going to come of this. So I went in an audition. And I do remember this was purely coincidental, but so at the auditions, you do 2 things. You do some improv there's a group of you, there's like 8 or 10 people they're auditioning together. So you do an improv set with a group in front of the panel, like a montage, a long form set. And then you're given an archive scene from Second City days long ago to perform. So they see you do some scripted stuff and then some improv. So for the improv set, I remember this. The suggestion we were given was, I believe, law school. So I jumped out and I started off as somebody studying to get into law school. And one of the first lines I said was, oh man, they have to take me this time. And not even thinking at all in my head about how it related to this situation, because this is the 15th time I've auditioned for Second City. But the panel all laughed, and it suddenly struck me, it's like, oh, they think I'm literally saying this about this situation. But that was, so I inadvertently commented on the reality of the situation. So I remember that for sure. And I remember having a really fun improv set. I think part of the reason I did so well was because and this is, any actor knows this, because I didn't give a shit. Because I was like, Second City doesn't want me. Not even sure I want them at this point. So I don't even know why I'm here, but I'll have fun. And I did a great improv set. And then the archive scene, I was playing a Stephen Colbert part from Second City Chicago many years ago, one of his scenes. That it isn't really a particularly funny scene if you look at it. It's about 2 brothers playing basketball together, and Stephen Colbert, who I was playing, was the older brother. and he's just given his younger brother shit because his younger brother says he's going to drop out of school and do something crazy with his life or something. And it's just about this nice little relationship scene between these two brothers. But so I did that scene, and I remember because they're playing basketball, so there's all this physical element of they're shooting hoops. It's all mime. But I just remember I was having so much fun doing, like I was standing there just pretending to spin the basketball on my finger and doing all these Harlem Globetrotter moves and all these things with the basketball. So that's what I remember most about my audition. So that's my tip for actors, is just don't give a shit and practice.
How do you mime that? The mime work is a struggle for me.
Well, no, you're doing fine. I mean, I would go a little faster. You have to like get the ball moving fast.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense. I like the slow-mo. I'm picturing just, this is a ball.
That's pretty much it. You just hold your finger up and you spin. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This is, again, you're the supportive teacher of like, dear God, Robin, that was terrible, but you made a choice and I'm going to support that.
Yeah, you were the slowest spinning basketball person ever.
I don't want to brag, but I've got the best balancing in the world. So I can go as slow as I want and just, it's still there. It's still doing its thing.
I just picture that you've got like a hole in the bottom of the ball, so you just jam it on your finger and it's just like sitting there.
I'm that person, that magician, right? That it's like, look at all these cool tricks I can do.
It's an illusion.
Is there even? It's floating. It's floating. It's flying and it's gone. And I threw it across the street. Done. Okay.
But see, I'm a way better mime athlete than I am an actual athlete. Like I can't spin a basketball in real life, but give me a mime basketball and I can do wonders with it.
Well, look, I wasn't very convinced that was a basketball either. I'm just saying. I love miming because it's so awkward.
It really is.
It's just utterly ridiculous sometimes, where you go, okay, I'll establish whatever and this is it. And I also realize I don't move like normal people. So for me, like drinking coffee is a little different. Like, I don't know, I hold it like this. This is coffee. It looks like I'm drinking alcohol sometimes. Like maybe I should do the pinky.
Well,
I don't know.
That doesn't look like coffee. That's like you're a British,
little tea, governor. Like, it's weird. So.
What was that? What was your British accent?
I said, little tea, governor.
A little tea, governor. Spot of tea. Yeah, a cuppa. I watch Coronation Street. That's where I get all my English references from.
Anytime I want to do an Australian accent, it sounds British.
Oh,
and then anytime I want to do a Cockney accent, it sounds Australian. So I always have to think and then do the opposite accent.
I think they all slip into kind of Cockney for me. Yeah, if I try to do Australian, yeah, they all slip into Cockney.
It's always Cockney. I'm like, oh, I guess I can do Cockney if I think it's Australian.
Exactly.
There we go.
I think it's
but I don't know how to write that on a resume. It's like Cockney if you tell her to do Australian.
You don't have to say that part. That can all just be internal.
Oh no, I know. That was a pure joke. Do you have any like random special skills on your resume that people should know about?
Probably, although I haven't updated it in years. No, I mean, I think I have things on there like of course I can drive a car, I can ride a bike, I can swim, I can juggle, but well, I used to be able. Is
it miming? Is it miming?
Oh, mime juggling. I can do I'm doing chainsaws and bowling balls right now. But I can juggle 3 balls. At least I could last time I tried, which was probably 5 years ago. But so
still on the resume.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that's on there, or that used to be, I used to be a croupier, which is a fancy word for blackjack dealer. Or a casino dealer.
Oh.
So I could do like high-speed blackjack dealing, but I don't know that I could even do that anymore.
Kerry, you have to brush up on that because I can see you getting those roles of like doing the underground pokering. Like, yeah. Let's go. It's going to take you for all you're worth.
Exactly.
These are the new roles for you where you go, yeah, bring it on. Let's go. Okay.
No, but
I don't really know how to play that. I have the eyes. Like.
That's pretty good. But with blackjack,
you
can't touch the cards. Like, that's the biggest thing. If you're like, it's all that we would have to constantly tell people, don't touch the cards, because we'd have to touch the cards.
Oh yeah, you can't touch the cards.
Because you're not playing each other. You don't have to hide your cards in blackjack, because you're just playing against the dealer.
Right.
I know, this is very exciting.
No, you're right. Again, this is clearly Robin the Gambler. Okay, like
but if you're playing poker, yes, you would hide your cards. But I
that's
just
it.
black.
I just like hiding my cards. Okay.
Exactly.
No
right.
sharing.
You got to keep them close to your chest.
Why did you decide to learn that skill?
Because I needed a job. This was back like when I was first taking improv classes, and I had left school, and I was like, well, I need to make some money to survive and all that stuff. So that was one of the many odd jobs I had. So this was so long ago, it was before the days when they had actual permanent casinos in Ontario. It was before the days of Niagara Casino and Rama. So this was in like the mid 90s, I want to say. And they had charity casinos that, so they were temporary, would be in like banquet halls or various places, and they could stay there for 3 days. And they just had to give a percentage of their take to a charity. And then they would move to somewhere else for the next week for 3 days and move all around. And so I got hired by one of those companies. I had to do a training course to learn to be a blackjack dealer. That was out of this guy's, it was kind of sketchy. It was this young guy who had like a studio apartment somewhere downtown, and he built all these blackjack tables and had them set up in his studio, and you came in and he taught you how to deal blackjack, and you paid him whatever it was that you paid him. It felt kind of sketchy, but it taught me enough to get a job with a company that ran the charity casinos, and so I did that for like a couple of years.
It's just, I'm picturing, those scenes where they go, you want to be a star, right? And then you're just like, you want to be a blackjack dealer?
Yeah.
There you go. Here's my, and then he like comes behind you when he does that ghost scene.
Exactly, and then I had to slowly, he's like, yeah, just unbutton your shirt. I had to like stand there and cry like from fame, just unbuttoning my shirt.
I need the job. Oh my God. That's funny. Well, you got the job, so.
I did get the job. I must have done something right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had a myriad of strange, random jobs. Doing that, I was a mascot. That was my first showbiz job. Was dressing up as. First, I was. Sonic.
No one knows.
What's that?
No one knows it's you.
No, they didn't. It was very anonymous. But I was Sonic the Hedgehog. For Sega video games for like a couple of years, and that's the only time I've ever been mobbed for autographs was when I was dressed as Sonic the Hedgehog, and I was at Olympic Stadium in Montreal for an Expos game. That's how old it was too. The Montreal Expos were still around, and Sega had this big like kids video game day or something, so they had set up video games on the field before the game for kids, and so. My handler, I got dressed in this costume.
Oh my God, sorry, it's just your handler. And
my handler, yeah, my people. I've never had a handler or anything as me, Kerry, but as Sonic the Hedgehog, I had a handler. So they led me out onto the field, and immediately I was just swarmed by hundreds, if not thousands of kids, all screaming because it was Montreal, so most of them were French. They were all like, Sonic, l'autographe, Sonic, photo, Sonic, Sonic. And I stood there for 2 hours signing autographs with these big like mascot, Mickey Mouse gloves on and a Sharpie that I could only like grip like a fist and trying to sign Sonic. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. And then
Did you come up with your own insignia, or was there one you had to follow?
No, I was just happy if I could write anything remotely coherent that looked like Sonic, because it was so hard to actually write. And the weirdest part too was like, talk about your ego, because so I'm dressed as Sonic, just, kids throwing themselves at me and yelling and screaming and buying for autographs. And then eventually it's done, and I go take the costume off, and I walk back out to whatever, get a drink or something, and I'm walking through the crowd as myself, and you literally are feeling like, why isn't anybody looking at me and coming up and going, we love you, we love you? And it's like, because I'm just me now, I'm not Sonic. It's so heartbreaking to take off that costume and have to go back.
But at least you have the escape. If it's a little too much fame, you can walk away.
True.
Right?